become so excited to hear from, that I'm hoping that the world undergoes, or the culture rather, undergoes what I have recently learned to be a psychological autopsy. I would like to do a psychological autopsy on as many bullies and victims as possible. How do we understand what breeds hatred, what breeds anger, and what are the signs that a youth empowered like Alyssa can pick up on within the school environment and say, hey, something's not quite right. I'm really happy that you're here today, because I recently have been doing some research on violence within schools, and something that I noticed in particular was that in the unfortunate tragedy of Columbine, there were actual very specific signs of violence and hatred even within their schoolwork. It ranged from bullying towards the perpetrators, as well as there being actual signs very early on of violent behaviors, violent messaging, violent tendencies in general. There was an essay written by one of the students that said, I have dreams that I X, Y, and Z, and the X, Y, and Z was a blueprint for the tragedy of the day. Why was there not a teacher that read that essay and said, something is wrong? Why was there not a student in that school that said there is violent behavior happening in the student body? Why was there not someone in Alyssa's school that said there is violent behavior happening to Jamie? These are the things that I want to really focus on from a scientific, psychological, and research perspective. I think that some of the answers really lie in us being more intelligent about the climate of society.
Let me just ask a question, Lady Gaga. Part of this is not just the bullying, it's also the bravery. How do we get to the bravery from your point of view?
Yes, of course. Well, again, thank you for pointing that out. This, again, is not focused around bullying. The bravery aspect is I want for young people to know that they have the power. Jeez, I'm terrible at that. I'm not used to doing it with the little mic here. I'm used to it being here or here, you know. How can we inspire young people to know that they have the power to be brave, to be the one to say there is a problem here, I'm noticing that there's an issue? How can it become cool to be the kid that says something's not quite right? For whatever reason, there is a sort of blinder of, I go to class, I do my homework, I get my work done, I hand it in to my teacher, I leave, I go hang out with kids after school. There needs to be attention that is paid to looking for signs and being an aware person that wants to be safe, wants to have the skills to be loved, to love, to accept, to be accepted, to be tolerant, to foster individuality, and know that the opportunity is yours to change.
Thank you. This fits right in with David Burker. No one can be braver than what he's had to experience as a young man and as a father, parent of 2 children. David, you want to ask us some questions, particularly about the bravery context, the braver world?
Right. Lady Gaga, I'm a big proponent of you and what you do, and as an out gay husband, father of twins, and a teen that was bullied relentlessly, I don't need much coaching on coaxing to appreciate your point of view. But how do you plan on getting your message to the large segments of the population that are not so open-minded?
That's a very good question. Well, right now we are working with Blue State Digital, which is one organization that we are partnering with to work on creating a social media environment that really fosters these ideas. And we are also working with many new experts on generating, I don't like the word programs. Let me think of another.
Sessions?
Awareness, gatherings, summit, organized meetings. The Born Brave Bus is an example of a place where I would like people to convene, where they can talk about these sorts of things. I want it to become cool to be aware about life, be aware about society, be aware about violence. In particular, in your case specifically, I want it to be part of the natural fabric of schooling, that someone knows that it is not okay to be intolerant of your children. It is not okay to be unaccepting. It is not okay to be violent because you don't understand.
Also, one of my concerns is making sure my children always feel safe to be themselves, but it's not always easy. So how are you or the foundation going to make childhood a safer place, given all the social networking tools out there to make children feel unsafe or vulnerable?
Well, I'm not going to.
How's
You are.
Me, my children.
You are. The point of the foundation is to say, parents, kids in school, we need to go from the bottom up, but the model is you. It's okay to say, you can't use that website, or you shouldn't be on that program, or this kind of language is inappropriate, or stay away from. Educating your kids about social media today is as important as anything. And unfortunately, which is so interesting, I was reading about all of the statistics in relation to bullying. People think that cyberbullying is like, the major thing that's happening right now, and truthfully, it's really not. It's the most visible because you can copy and paste something and view it, but the worst bullying that you can experience is face-to-face, on the street, in school. So I believe, truthfully, that it is about the parents really, really being strong and very, very direct with their kids about what it means to be loving and accepting. If you teach your kids to love everyone and be accepting of everyone, hopefully that will over time branch out. But the truth is that there is really no one answer, and there is no law that can be passed. I wish there was, because I'd be chained naked to a fence somewhere trying to pass it.
But how will you get to the parents?
Well, how will I get to the parents? The foundation aims to spread this message of love and acceptance and bravery as much as we can through the kids, through the bus, through Blue State Digital and media, and we're continuing to develop ideas with all of the different experts that we're working with. So the idea is that this really isn't an overnight thing. This is a cultural change and movement that's meant to be transformative and take place over time. And, it could be 50 years from now, but if I'm dead, I don't give a shit. I just hope it happens. I just hope it happens.
I know there's some people here in the audience who've left their labs and left their offices, who are the researchers, who are doing very important work that's going to influence this. What's your message to the researchers? What would you like them to do, and why are they so important to what you're trying to do?
Give me all your information. I'd like for all of you to know that you are the most valuable asset to all of us. And this foundation is not a closed forum. I'm not excited about being the best foundation in the world. It's not about that. I want to work with as many of you as I can. Use me. Use me. If you discover something tremendous, if the research that you're doing is leading a particular study in a different direction, help us to understand what we can do on a completely grassroots level to spread that message. I really believe that so much of the Born This Way Foundation is about information. People don't have the information, and if we don't have the information, we can't spread the message.
I'm going to go to Secretary Sebelius in just a minute, but I want to go back to Dr. Swearer in the sense from the psychological point of view. What would you like Lady Gaga to be thinking about? What's the next question you want to present to her?
Yeah, I mean, what will the Born This Way Foundation do to kind of bring light to, really, you talked about the mental anguish that all kids involved in, you know, aggressive and mean behavior experience. So,
well, I will probably pull you aside after and ask you. You know, the truth is that we don't have all the answers, and what we're looking to do is bring someone like yourself and psychologists worldwide together to figure out the best way to formulate a system, a criteria. Right now, the messaging is love, acceptance, bravery. We have SSO, which is for skills, for safety, for opportunity. But we are going to delve further into this issue and figure out all of the ways that we can develop a psychological checklist, if you will. Mm-hmm. Mental turmoil is very serious. It comes in so many different forms. Depression being one of them. Depression is probably one of the most widespread forms of turmoil that many of us experience. I really want to become as educated as I can about the issue, but more importantly, I think the more kids that I can get to eat hamburgers and talk about it outside my show, I really think, you know, it sounds small, but over time, I feel that it will be very big.
We're very fortunate to have the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Yes, we are.
And there's a lot from the government, a lot on policy. Secretary?
Well, I think that the question, Lady Gaga, that you were just talking about with kids, you know, one of the things, and Dr. Swearer probably knows this a lot better than I do, but that the research says is that a friend intervening, a person intervening in a bullying situation is enormously powerful. It often shuts it down. And, you know, when I listen to you talking about the safety and skills and opportunity, how can we, you, all of us, convince kids how powerful they really are, that they really have the power to stop something that they don't like to see, that they don't like going on? What can we do to reach out to every kid?
I think it's about messaging. I think that it's about being innovative in the way that we use technology. I also believe that this idea that, you know, creating a sense of acceptance within the classroom is the sort of thing that will inspire someone to say, hey, quit beating up on so-and-so. You know, that was a little bit much. Back off a little bit, or telling a teacher. It's going to take a really long time, and if anyone knows how to get a message out there, it's me. So
Here.
I guess I sort of have this feeling that if I can, you know, make a song called Just Dance really big all over the world, I might be able to make a song that's, you know, just be nice. I know that I keep giving you the same answers to almost all of your questions, but you know, I kind of am doing that on purpose, and I'll explain why. I remember when, well, I don't remember because I wasn't alive yet, but I'm obsessed with John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And they would say, give peace a chance. And the reporters would shove microphones in their faces and say, explain. And they would just cuddle and say, no. But what do you mean by give peace a chance? Give it a chance. It seems so utopian and naive, but, you know, it's like a good pop hook.